Animal Shriver's novel, when you talk about Kevin, the question is raised on whether parents hold responsibility for how their children develop mentally. Eva's son Kevin, who shows developmental problems from birth, becomes responsible for a school massacre, and the debate begins on whether Eva is to blame. There are many points throughout the novel that prove how Eva is not immediately responsible for Kevin's problems. One could argue that parental neglect led Kevin to be a monster, but Kevin's father Franklin was always invested in him. Franklin played with him, spent time with him, and was nearly oblivious to his son's unusual antics. He always defended him when Eva tried to claim that he was disabled or some sort of developmental problem. It is also mentioned in the novel that Kevin had many toys and books, so he was not understimulated. Eva is portrayed at times as unwilling to be a mother, but this is only after Kevin is born. Eva wanted to be a mother, and she tried to get pregnant by purposely not taking her birth control method. The idea that Eva's ambivalence towards motherhood could somehow be passed in utero is not really plausible due to her willingness to be pregnant. Eva's second child, Celia, developed normally without any dramatic changes to their parenting style. She is described as shy, fearful, affectionate, and loving. Kevin, in the same parental environment, did not develop normally. Eva's parenting, therefore, could not create a poisonous child. In the last scene of the book, Kevin leaves juvenile incarceration and transfers to adult prison, and Eva knows in her heart that she loves him. It's absurd to think that a person could fall in love with someone who killed their daughter, their husband, along with innocent school children. Eva obviously had an eternal love for Kevin since he was born. It is also mentioned that Eva will let Kevin live with her as soon as his sentence is done. She continues to love him and protect him even after his crime. For these reasons, Eva did not nurture Kevin into his behavior.
Hey! My group is doing the book We Need to Talk About Kevin by Leona Shriver. And the thing we're discussing and talking about is this whole notion of nature versus nurture, who plays the biggest role in the main character Kevin's development as a person, the way he acts, and like the things he ends up doing because of his mindset. Eva, who narrates the novel, is Kevin's mother, and the thing we're talking about is her parenting skills and how they affect Kevin, and really if she's more at fault or to blame for what he ends up doing, which is school shooting, and he murders his father and his sister. And my whole stance on the whole thing is that it's not 100% Kevin, but it's mostly Kevin, because you can't blame a mother, put more blame on a mother for what her child does, no matter what, parenting skills they had, because when you read the book, you realize Eva isn't a perfect mother. She's not the best mother, but she really doesn't do a whole lot, I think, to impact Kevin as much as I think what we would be needed for him to do what he does and to blame her completely. I think when you read the book, you really pick up on things, even as a small child, that Kevin was just not right in the head. There could have, easily, even though Shriver doesn't say it out loud, there could have been mental problems, really easily. It could have just been that he doesn't think right, that there's a chemical imbalance in his brain that, doesn't allow him to feel as much emotion, doesn't allow him to feel, passionate or affectionate towards other human beings and even his own family, because when you read the book, you realize he's really not affectionate. He's a really kind of a coldless. He's a really cold person. And so a lot of it to me is just Kevin's character. And, even though a lot of people have had fudged up parents, it doesn't mean and mold who they are as people. My grandparents were raised in pretty horrible situations. My grandfather was homeless. His parents were drug addicts and alcoholics and didn't really care about him and I think like 16 of his siblings, but he was probably one of the sweetest and nicest persons I've met my whole entire life. My grandmother, same thing. She's abused by her father, but she's one of the sweetest, kindest people, and she never hurt a fly. So I think, even though parents play this really massive role in how someone acts, and even, what we like as people, what we don't like, if you grow up in a quiet household, maybe you hate noise, or if your parent really loves art, you are really artistic when you grow up. It's the same kind of thing on a really minute scale concerning what we're talking about. But I think Kevin was just born this way, and there are so many outside influences in his life, his school, other people that could have influenced him besides his mother. There's this quote from the book that I'm pulling up right now. It says, "Children live in the same world we do. To kid ourselves that we can shelter them from it isn't just naive, it's a vanity." And that's like the whole point of my argument is there's so many outside influences that influenced Kevin, not just his family, not just Eva, his mother. There were so many outside factors to why he did what he did, and in the end, he didn't really know why he did what he did. So to blame his mother 100%, I think is just kind of looking for a scapegoat when you could easily blame so many other things. You could just blame Kevin. Like, why don't we just blame Kevin? So yeah, I think it's 100% Kevin. I think he was born messed up. He just couldn't think straight. He had a lack of affection and empathy for other people. And even though Eva wasn't the best mother, she cannot be blamed 100% for that. So yeah, that's my argument. I'm done.
The scenes in which Eva visits Kevin in prison provide examples of their cold relationship towards each other, as does the fact that while Kevin was younger, she, in a fit of fury, broke his arm. These signs point to the fact that Eva was a cold mother to her son and suggest reasons as to why he would lash out with violence, imitating his mother's way of coping with issues. Franklin is not innocent either, trying to ignore his son's sociopathic disposition, claiming his son is an innocent, normal child. Returning the prosthetic eye at the end of the novel, Kevin proves that he is not an inherently evil person, as someone trying to counter my argument would suggest, making up with his mother for the pain that he must have caused her. The fact that he has some shred of humanity and guilt shows that he was conditioned unintentionally by Eva to become a sociopathic, vengeful, and passive-aggressive person. She concedes and claims she loves him in the end in an ironic twist.
Kevin's mother essentially creates the recipe for an aggressive, troubled child, and Lionel Shriver's We Need to Talk About Kevin. Eva is an emotionally detached, neglectful, and borderline abusive mother throughout the novel. Even at the beginning of her pregnancy, Eva shows clear signs of emotional attachment from her own son. On page 51, she discusses her negative feelings towards her pregnancy. "I felt expendable, throwaway, swallowed by a big biological project that I didn't initiate or choose, that produced me but would also chew me up and spit me out. I felt used." An additional example of Eva's emotional detachment from Kevin was on page 83, as Eva shares her lack of emotion immediately following Kevin's birth. "While they stitched up the tearing, you offered to take Kevin again, and I knew I should protest. I didn't. At being relieved of him, my gratitude was self-destroying. If you want to know the truth, I was angry, I was frightened, I was ashamed of myself, but I also felt cheated. I wanted my surprise party. I thought, if a woman can't rely on herself to rise to an occasion like this, then she can't count on anything. From this point onward, the world was on its ear. Prostrate, with my legs agape, I made a vow that while I may have learned to expose my private parts for all the world to see, I would never reveal to anyone on earth that childbirth had left me unmoved." This illustrates the fact that Kevin's mother showed no love for her son even before he began demonstrating violent, inappropriate behavior. Eva Cacciadorian evidently did not want to give birth to Kevin, nor did she desire to create an emotional connection with him. All repercussions of her cold parenting style leave Eva directly responsible for
yeah. Miami, South Beach, bringing the heat, Can y'all feel that? Jig it out, Here I am in the place where I come let go. In Miami, the bass